Well, you've seen my lousy, low-quality review of the season finale of Samurai Jack, and it's just about as everyone else's review of it. A Gurren Lagann ripoff. What these guys did was that they took the wrong pieces from the previous seasons instead of the right pieces. And what I mean by that is was like, I'm trying to think of what was one of the wrong pieces that they took from the previous seasons. Oh yeah, when Ashi meets up with all the previous characters Jack has saved and faced. Sorry, something in my eyes. Or that they tried to say that there was no other. No, let me rephrase that. They took out all of the possibilities and options that Jack had in order to go to the past. Now, there was nothing wrong with the whole love romantic relationship they added in this season finale. As a matter of fact, I think it was like a bonus, a boost, something that could help this story get a little bit more interesting, which is what saved it from being a total flop, in my opinion. Alright, okay, now, here's how they could have saved Samurai Jack Season 5. Instead of 50 years into the future, we go 15 years. And we have this would be 15 years after Jack and the Baby, the last episode of Season 4. And we have a 5-year flashback, so that's a total of 20 years in order to keep the whole Daughters of Aku in. We'll say, Ashi's like about 20 or 21, and Jack, we still keep the whole Jack does not age that much. But we at least would give Jack the image that was shown to us in Jack versus the Guardian, when the time portal showed a future image of Samurai Jack. Now, here's how it goes. Jack and Aku are battling it out over who is the one that is destined to protect this, to rule this world. Even though Jack does not consider himself a king or a ruler, he considers himself to be a samurai with one purpose, and that is to destroy Aku. Speaking of purposes, I was gonna make a video talking about Jack's purpose, and based on what Gaijin Goomba had stated. Jack's purpose was not to return to the past, even though that was a side quest. Jack's one true purpose was to slay Aku. That was it. It didn't matter when or where Jack did it, as long as he completed his purpose, which was to defeat Aku. Alright, now back to the main thing. Here's how I was picturing or hoping that they would go with it in terms of a season finale of Samurai Jack. After Jack is seen sitting on a throne alongside his friend, the Scotsman. They say, and the Scotsman comes to Jack and says, we've successfully done it. And what they've successfully done is create a replica of Samurai Jack's sword. Scotsman says that it took some time in order for us to figure out how this sword is made, but thanks to our Celtic magic, or whatever it's called that the Scotsman, uses. He states that we've done it. We've created a sword that can kill and defeat Aku. With the souls of our fallen comrades forged into weapons, Aku will stand no chance against us. And Jack just looks at the Scotsman saying, "Thank you, my friend. You have done well. However, I feel that I must go back and continue this journey again. Sitting around here training our soldiers in order to defeat Aku and will not further spread hope across this world." Then that's when they show, the flashbacks of the daughters of Aku, Ashi being trained, stuff like that. Instead of, having a mopey, sad, depressed Jack walking around saving people or just giving up on the whole fight. He instead goes around spreading hope and inspiring people to join him. But before he goes off to the journey, he meets up with the scientist that gave Jack that robotic arm in order to slay his creations and taught him how to high five. Jack asked the scientist if he could build him an advanced defense armor. And what the scientist does, he says that he's already ahead of him, and he gives them. The scientist gives Jack the armor that was done in season 5. I'll admit I did like the first outfit that he had, which was that sci-fi samurai armor. I'll say it was. But instead of it being just regular armor with shield paddings that can drop down to his arms and deflect and block attacks, this armor would protect him from bullets. It would also enhance his speed and strength and give him flight, maybe. It would also help out with his sight and sound detection systems, infrared, the tactical espionage stuff, classics. And Jack, sorry for the rumbling, sorry for the camera movement, and Jack would say, "Thank you, this is perfect." And so Jack would set out destroying the Beetleborgs, saving villages. As he makes his way back, though, then that's when the daughters of Aku come in to assault. After the whole flashbacks and showing of the birth and the process and the training that the daughters of Aku went through. Instead of 15, maybe 20 for age legalization. And I was talking about the time jump, because still 50 years is too big, way too big for a time jump. And I'll admit I did like what they had at first to start, where Jack is assaulted by a stealth enemy death squad unit. I mean, like, that worked. That did work. And Jack versus the Daughters of Aku, that also worked. they could have kept that. That they can keep that. That was acceptable. What was unacceptable was just to do a copy and paste of Gurren Lagann is all, or take away all the previous seasons hints and pieces that they could have put in season 5, like Jack uses the portal that was guarded by the Guardian that he could not defeat in order to return to the past, or another one where I'm trying to remember what was the other one that they took out that could have been used as slaying the Scotsman and destroying the sword. That's another thing they they could have not just wiped off, saying like the Scotsman's Celtic sword was no match for the power of Aku, which makes no sense. And speaking of the Scotsman, while Jack is doing all of this, the Scotsman searches for Aku's lair. And we can also add his daughters in, they're like teenagers though, or around the same age as Ashi and the daughters of Aku. That actually would work for comedic effects. And and while Jack has defeated all of the daughters of Aku except for Ashi, where he feels that there's still hope for her, he can he goes on this quest to prove that what she knows is a lie, and that everything he's done is to save Mother Nature and the Earth, while Aku does nothing but destroy it. And so Jack goes to one of his base camps where the Aku threat detection system activates with Ashi there, with Ashi with him, and so there's this whole mix-up. Wow, look at me now! I'm doing the whole copy and paste routine. And in case you guys don't know what I mean, is that there was an episode from D. Grayman where he went to the base and the Akuma threat detection went off on one of the guys, even though he wasn't an Akuma. But and so there was this whole mix-up of misunderstanding. It was kind of funny to me. And back to the Samurai Jack. So they disabled the security for misunderstanding and everything, and they wonder why it would go off like that. So they do some tests on Ashi, and they figured out that there is Aku inside Ashi, powers and abilities, and so they say that if Ashi has the powers and abilities of Aku to Jack, though, then perhaps you can use Ashi to return to the past and undo the future. And Jack would say no. He would turn this down and say, because I have not defeated Aku here, I need to make sure that Aku is defeated, because if I do return to the past and defeat Aku there, I do not know what will happen here. So he would say, I could probably create a time paradox by going into the past, or a parallel timeline, like in Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward. And I'm trying to think now, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so but But one of the advisors says this could come back at us badly in a negative way, and tell Jack that that Ashi is not to be trusted. Ashi should not be here or around us. And while they create a bond, while Jack and Ashi have created this bond that was shown in season 5, getting closer to a love bond, Jack refuses and says, no, there has to be another way. Maybe we can purify it. Get rid of the Aku within Ashi like I once did. And there's a flashback to the Aku infection in the previous seasons, and how Jack was able to rid himself of the evil within. So Jack goes to these monks that helped him to Ashi, but before he reaches there, Aku shows up, and in order to try to get the jump, or a fake Aku, I would say. And when Jack thinks that he's defeated and slayed this fake Aku, the real one shows up and says that, wait, I've sensed something, I've noticed something, and says that I had planned to let the fake me think that you have defeated the real me, and with a more humorous thing like the whole Jack versus Aku, no sword, hand-to-hand combat, where it was the whole I knew that you knew that I knew thing. That was another piece that could have worked for this season, that they could have brought. And what Aku would say is that there's a bit of me in her. And so, like in the season 5, they can use that, describe of what happened with flashbacks and how the Daughters of Aku came to be. And it would result in this part where Jack cannot hurt Ashi. He does not want to hurt her. And so he gives up right then and there. And Aku takes Jack's sword away from him and brings Jack to his lair, all while at the same time the Scotsman is still searching for Aku's lair, and with the mass production of the swords that the army has. And and so Aku does this worldwide broadcast and everything, like in season 5. Now, instead of everyone coming to and their mama to come and save Jack, it'd just be the Scotsman and the Scottish army of the whole 300, equipped with the weapons that were mass produced, and with the Scottish army that was with Jack. And Jack, I'm trying to recall what was the name of that episode where I think it was Jack and the Scotsman's wife or something like that. It'd just be the army of Scotsmen and the army of the 300 Spartan soldiers, now up to 1,000, coming to rescue Jack. And the Scotsman and the Spartan leader are all like, Jack, what are you doing here? And he tells them that, well, I've found this lovely woman, and during one of my travels and quests, and I think I'm in love with her and all that. And the Scotsman and the Spartan king says, I think you can do better, based upon how they see her as a female version of Aku. And so the battle continues on, and stuff like that. They finally, after gaining the upper hand, they defeat Aku before Aku could escape. They use one of the Spartans use a magic arrow in order to trap Aku in, and they call it an anti-Aku cocoon. And that is where Jack shouts out, "No more," and defeats Aku and slays him for the last time. Where the world is free of Aku, but it doesn't end there. Now, I know I'm just not putting enough details into this and everything, but I'm just giving you the basics where you can add your own details and fillers of this. But after Aku is defeated finally and peace is restored, there's like about a 1 year, we'll give a 1 year later, where Ashi and Jack are going to the monks and to rid herself of the Aku that is within her. The monks say, however, they cannot destroy the Aku within her because it would wind up killing her, since that part of her is Aku. What we can do, however, is convert the Aku within her. So what they do is that instead of getting rid of it, they purify it into a more magical, light, holy being. And after doing so, Ashi says to Jack, "I no longer feel him within me. It's all gone now." And so that is when at the final episode, Jack goes to the past, but he goes with Ashi. But he doesn't use Ashi in order to return to the past. He goes to where he was once defeated for I guess for the second time. I don't know if Jack and the Guardian was before or after Jack was faced against those I think 80s style robots or 70s styles robots that sort of had him on the ropes when they shot him with some sort of numbing drug that prevented him from using his sword. Okay, this is getting too long. Let's hurry this up. All right. So he goes to the place where he was defeated for the first or second time, and he meets the Guardian once again. And the Guardian says, "If you are now ready to use the time portal, Samurai Jack." The Guardian then looks at the companion that is Ashi with Jack. Jack says, "Is she not allowed to come with me?" The Guardian pauses and says to Jack, "She may come with you. However, do not be surprised if she does not survive." That's where she could probably vanish after she defeats Aku from the past. So Jack bows at the Guardian, so does she, pays his respects. They go through the time portal, and then that's when they have the whole where Aku says, "You might have beaten me now, but I will destroy you in the future," the whole yada yada. That's when they put that's when they can put that in there. Another thing that did work was where Jack successfully goes to the past of where he was sent to the future, slays Aku again, and says, "No more." Then, when Aku is slayed, everything is all right and peaceful. Jack says, "My quest and my purpose has been completed. And so what happens next is that the three gods that created the sword come before Jack, and they say to him, "You have done well in slaying this evil. You now are free." So they take the sword back from Jack and say to him, "This sword is no longer useful with the absolute evil gone. But in case one day this absolute evil returns, so will the sword." And Jack says to the three gods, "Wait, what about Ashi? She is not of this timeline. She could be erased." And so what they do is they give Ashi something that will keep her within this timeline. And so that's when the whole, Jack gets married. Jack raises and everything's all right. Those that helped and trained Jack are here. There's even an Easter egg. We'll give an Easter egg. Put an Easter egg where someone that looks like the Scotsman, but is actually an ancestor of the Scotsman, comes to Jack's wedding. And Jack and Ashi get married. We finally get to know Jack's real name during this wedding, and then we have let's say a 30-year time jump where Jack is now the shogun. Jack and Ashi rule over this land, and that peace has reigned across the world. And he is telling his children the stories of his adventures. And then that's how you end a well done season finale of Samurai Jack. Not this repeats and wrong and just wrong. Forget what happened in the past. We'll just do it this way, where we put a little more sense into season 5 and not make it a Gurren Lagann ripoff. All right, that's all I've got. This was instead of a game idea, this was a season 5 idea of one of my favorite cartoon shows. Well, I guess I'll see you guys in the next game idea.